What is up, everybody? Sports Dude here, back again for the Sports Dudes podcast. This is episode number 2. We're back again today, guys, with the awesome topics once again. Last week, guys, if you didn't check out that episode, that was mainly about the Super Bowl. We talked about a lot of cool topics, sports world retirements and all that good stuff. If you didn't check that out, go check that out right now. Definitely was a really awesome episode. This episode today, of course, we got some fan questions, which I mentioned last week. We were going to have some fan questions and have some fun there. We also have a lot of topics. This main topic will be about the World Series, actually. I'm going to talk about my prediction for the World Series this year, give some off-season outlooks and some grades on the off-season for the MLB. We'll talk some NFL as well, and the questions today will be concerning the NFL. But before that, guys, I forgot in the last episode, because I think I have short-term memory loss, that I wanted to thank one half Little Dunkers, a former YouTuber. Did very well. He is my intro guy. If you notice that really awesome intros that I have, I appreciate him doing that, so I want to give him a shout out there. And as well, if I remember, I'm going to put Husky Nation TV, his thumbnail in the description down below. He is the one that takes care of all my good thumbnails, which, if I did them, they just look like a pile of blah. So it really helps out with that. So I'll leave his description, his channel down in the description below, so you can subscribe to him too. I definitely would appreciate that for you guys. But we'll get to the questions later. We'll also talk about a few topics. But the first topic I wanted to talk about was a little bit of NFL news, and of course I'll dive also into the All-Star festivities for the NBA. I'll talk about a few things, the dunk contest controversy and all that good stuff. But first topic of business here, the main kind of news this week for the NFL is pretty much done. Actually, kind of is done. But Matt Forte of the Chicago Bears has reportedly not re-signed. The Bears opted to not re-sign him. So that is kind of some big news right there. Matt Forte, former Pro Bowl running back for the Chicago Bears out of Tulane, has been basically their number one guy. And with him kind of being gone right now, it's going to open the door for Jeremy Langford, who is a former Michigan State product and will now be their starting running back, which is going to be interesting to see how they go there. I, for one, I'm mixed reaction on this deal. I get the deal that the Bears did. You got to get rid of him. Forte is already 30 years old. On the flip side, though, he is a solid running back. Definitely can receive, great receiving running back as well. And that's it hurts to lose a good player like that. But I think they'll be all right there. But I'm excited to see what Jeremy Langford can do. He did have a nice season for the Bears. I don't have the exact stat how many touchdowns he had, but I believe it was about 6 or 7 touchdowns, actually. I know I had him in my fantasy team, and he did quite well. He actually had a few games where when Forte was banged up, I was checking it, and Langford was playing really well towards the later half of the season. So that was definitely good, and I think the Bears will be looking good in his shoes. But so that's basically the only NFL topic I kind of want to talk about besides the questions. That was like my main thing. I got a pad of paper right here, guys. Let's get all my good topics for the week and everything like that. So we'll dive in, actually. I think, we'll dive into the World Series prediction. And so obviously this offseason has definitely been a bigger for the MLB. From the Diamondbacks, Tigers, and Cubs, I believe are the 3 teams that really made huge strides. With we'll talk about Jordan Zimmerman, former Washington National All-Star. He made the transition over to Detroit as well. We got Arizona swooping in Zach Greinke, which that's pretty darn big right there, big move there. And then you have the Cubs swooping in John Lackey. So there's the 3 pitchers right there. Just they're gone, and then just big moves like that is pretty crazy. I believe David Price too. That was a big one. I believe it was the Boston Red Sox if I'm not mistaken, or was it? That's actually a good question. I don't really remember, but I forgot what Price went to. But he went some team. I know it was a pretty big move there. So a lot of big starting pitchers leaving their teams. And now it's definitely going to be interesting to see what the season will bring. But as you see the thumbnail, my prediction for the World Series is definitely going to be the Chicago Cubs versus the Kansas City Royals. Again, I really do believe the outlook on both these teams. The Royals had a really good season, the AL Central. Played really well. There's not much competition that's Central. We don't have many great teams, but they played really well. They won. They have a young team too. I love teams with young players. They have Mike Moustakas, who you see in the thumbnail, Eric Hosmer. You got a lot of nice young pieces that you can play around with, which is pretty awesome. And then the Cubs, of course, Chris Bryant, young kid. They also signed Jason Hayward, so they've definitely made some big strides this offseason as well. And I think they're going to be very, very deadly come this regular season. I really do believe, and the postseason as well. I think, in my opinion, both those teams will take their divisions pretty handily. I think. I believe the Royals did they did take the division. The Cubs had the wild card, so I believe I think both teams will take the division pretty handily. And then I think meeting the postseason. I definitely believe the Mets will be in there like they were this past season, and the Mets are a really good team. They really, really are. They got a lot of I think I think they do have the best rotation in the MLB, top to bottom. I mean that's top five is pretty deadly. I don't really know. You think about it. You got Matt Harvey, you got Syndergaard, you got Wheeler. You got those three pitchers just alone are pretty deadly. I mean let's be honest. Those guys are unbelievable. Even guys like Bartolo Colon were pitching in last year, so that's kind of crazy as well. He's the guy's 40 years old, but he's still playing at a high level. That's pretty insane. So I think their rotation, top to bottom, is pretty deadly. I think they're definitely going to lead. They'll definitely lead their division. That NL East is not really that good. The Nationals are. They struggled, and you got the Marlins aren't really anything to play around with. So, in the Phillies, Lord knows the Phillies. So it's not much going on there really. So I personally believe that they'll definitely be back in the playoffs as well. But I think it's gonna be a really fun ride this MLB season. A lot of players shaking up, a lot of different players, different places, which is cool to see. I like changing it around a little bit. But that's my prediction. I do believe the Chicago Cubs will take on the Kansas City Royals. I really believe it's going to be a fun MLB season. It always usually is. Spring training will be rolling around here in about a month, which is always a fun time. Always a fun time. I'm always intrigued to take a look at all this, all this stuff. It's always fun to watch spring training, watch the games and everything. It's always a good time. Long season, but it's entertaining. So that should be some fun right there. And that is my prediction for the season. I do think a couple of teams. I think, switching gears a little bit now. I think we're gonna go into some questions. So we'll go to the questions. I had a few comments here, which I'm definitely intrigued. Some of these questions are pretty cool. But one of them here is, do you think Johnny Manziel will ever eventually succeed in the NFL? No. That's straight up no. Johnny Manziel is one of those players where, you got to keep your head on straight, and it's kind of obvious. You just can't do what he's been doing. He did well in college, but college is completely different than the NFL. I mean, completely different, in all respects. I mean, we saw when we've done the field. Running quarterbacks do not last very well in the NFL. You got to be a pocket passer. Let's think about the running quarterbacks that have done well. Yeah. Oh yeah. Wait, there isn't any. I mean, Marcus Mariota. He played okay. What did Winston do? Nothing really memorable. Where does RG3? Well, that's enough said. Injury prone. So running quarterbacks just not happen. Then there's Cam Newton. But the thing about Cam Newton is, he's got mobility. He can run, but he's not like run first. You know what I mean? Like there's not much like Mariota run first. Manziel was just running first. That's all he really did. He really didn't have any throwing ability. Well, there's Cam. Cam can throw, and we saw it. And, he led his team to the Super Bowl. And then Manziel, what did he do? So you can make the argument that he didn't have talent around it, but you really can't, though. I mean, you have guys like Travis Benjamin, Gary Barnidge, I think led the NFL in receiving touchdowns for a tight end. I know him, great fantasy player as well. So, he had an unbelievable season. And you got some protection on the line, too. Joe Thomas, all pro. So the Browns have pieces to play with, but you need a quarterback. And Manziel, to ever succeed, I don't know. I really don't. I've heard that he's wanted to go to Dallas. Good luck. Good luck to Mr. Johnny Manziel, but I don't believe he'll do well in the NFL. I really think bust. I think bust. When I think Johnny Manziel, I think bust. I mean, maybe teams are going to give him some other chances. I know that for sure. Many teams will give him chances. Same with RG3 for that matter. I believe RG3 will have many chances in the NFL besides what he is right now, just kind of on the sidelines with Kirk Cousins taking over. But that's definitely something that's going to be interesting to see. Definitely. Another comment here we got: will the Packers win the Super Bowl? That's kind of far-fetched. Obviously, the Super Bowl is not going to be for quite a while here, almost 300 days. But I'll answer it. And my opinion, no again on this one. I don't believe the Packers will win the Super Bowl. For me, the Packers, I think they will definitely be better than they did this past season, without a doubt. When you lose Jordy Nelson, that playmaking ability is gone. I mean, you saw what happened. Randall Cobb had a very down season. Rodgers had a tough time passing. He really did. You have guys like Richard Rodgers out there, not to the level of Jordy. Definitely Jordy makes a big difference out there. When Rodgers, that's his main target. We saw that when you saw him go on this whole season. So I definitely think with Jordy back, that's going to free up the opportunities for Randall Cobb to play better, for guys like Devontae Adams maybe to get open or to catch the ball. So there's definitely a different couple aspects there, which I'm interested to see. But I do believe the Packers once again will win the NFC North, and they will go into the playoffs. And you have Mr. 12 in there as their quarterback. He's not going to, unless he gets injured, he will definitely lead them to the playoffs like normal. Do I think Super Bowl? No, I really don't. I think the Patriots and the Panthers will be contenders, just to name a few, will be contenders over the Packers in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. But we'll see. I don't really know, but I'm thinking. And then we had one more question too. Do you I believe it was, do you think about what do you think about the Marshawn Lynch thing and the Calvin Johnson? Do you ever think they'll come back in Hall of Fame worthy careers and stuff like that? Which one was better? In my opinion, Calvin. Calvin Johnson is a freak athlete. I mean, Marshawn had some rough start when he kind of was starting in the NFL. I believe with his Buffalo Bills background, didn't do very much. Then he started to kick it up a notch when he went to Seattle. But Calvin, throughout his career, has just been unstoppable. When he was in his prime, obviously he's done now, but when he was younger, Calvin Johnson was deadly. I mean, Calvin Johnson was unbelievable type of player. He still was too. Calvin, he just battled injuries really, and that's what it is. But a freak of nature, really 6'6". I mean, this guy's an absolute animal. So in my opinion, I'm gonna go Calvin. Hall of Fame worthy career, Calvin. That's stretching it a little bit. That is, but I could see it as a snipe. Marshawn. That's just my opinion, but I don't believe Hall of Fame worthy career. No. Not in my opinion. Hall of Fame worthy career, that's Marshawn. What did he do, really? I mean, he didn't do anything extraordinary. Calvin, maybe I maybe could see him getting in, but Marshawn, in my opinion, no, I don't. I don't think any of those guys will go out to retirement too. Maybe Marshawn. I could see Marshawn pulling one of those. I'll come back. I'm just here to let someone get fined. That's a possibility though, but we'll see. I have no idea, but I think we'll see. I think we'll just go back and think about these players as definitely great players. They were all pro, all Pro Bowl type players, but they're definitely good players without a doubt. But I don't think any of those guys are Hall of Fame worthy. Really, I mean, Calvin is stretching a little bit, but I definitely think they were special players nonetheless. So yeah, that is basically going to be the podcast, guys. I don't think I have everything else. I think I got the fan questions. I think we are all good. Yeah, I think we're all good here. I don't know if there's anything else. So yeah, that's pretty much going to wrap up this podcast, guys. Only a 13-minute podcast for this episode. If I missed a few questions, which sometimes I'll do, I'll write them down, and we'll recap them at episode number 3. So yeah, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this series. I've had a lot of positive feedback on it, which I'm very grateful for, very happy about, guys. I really appreciate that. If you make sure to drop a like down below, subscribe if you're new to my channel. I am the Sports Dude, going strong here, having some fun on YouTube. This podcast is really fun, just really cool to express my sports, ideas and topics. Really, really quite fun. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. You guys have a great day. Happy Valentine's Day to you as well, and have a great day, guys. And I'll talk to you guys later. Take care.